Man, did we have some great college basketball for you this weekend. The Purdue Boilermakers defeated the Blue Devils, moving to 6-0 on the season thus far. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Slasher U. I'm your host, Christian Rao, here with my co-host, Steve Beck. And Steve, let's break down the Phil Knight legacy game here between Purdue and Duke. Purdue moving to 6-0 with a 75-56 win over Duke. First and foremost, Duke moving to 6-2. This is another loss under John Shire, probably his biggest loss thus far. However, the team looks pretty decent. I still think Duke is going to be just fine in the ACC, but a lot of this attention needs to belong to the Boilermakers. I don't think anyone had them looking this good so far this season.
No, and then obviously Zach Easley is such a story unto himself. But it's funny. I'm glad you mentioned that Duke is looking okay, because really coming into the game, I thought that Shira was finding out more about how his team was beginning to take shape, kind of getting a better feel for it. Yeah, they struggled against Oregon State. They didn't shoot particularly well. But I think there were certain rotations that were worked in that put together a nice, solid defensive effort. Then they played Xavier, and when they got challenged, their veteran star Jeremy Roach took control. Then they really shut off the Musketeers' attack toward the end of the game. So I thought when they came into this game with Purdue, despite obvious matchup challenges, that the Blue Devil staff and the team had to be feeling pretty good about things, as a whole. Yeah. But Purdue's physical play, and I mean physical play, if their football defense was this physical, they would have had a better season in the Big Ten. This was a tough basketball game. And what I liked is, for the most part, the referees swallowed the whistles, and put them away. But Zach Easley proved that a dominant big man is going to create problems for the Blue Devils until Derek Lively can get himself in sync. Not every team has a 7'4", 285-pound, Goliath, clogging up the lane. But Lively was obviously overmatched, at least as how I viewed it during the game. Now, he has missed almost a month due to a calf injury. So, that explains a lot of it. But, Duke has a challenging schedule coming up before ACC play begins. And Easley was everything I had read about, and his 21 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists. But he was the flame that the Boilermakers forged their game plan from. He was really, truly at the, pardon the pun, center of everything. I think he helped, Caleb First, on the boards. Caleb First had 10 rebounds. Braden Smith had 8. So it really was an inside-out flow for Purdue, and that seemed to work really, really well. Fletcher Lawyer added a nice perimeter presence. He had some early struggles in the season, but he's really come into his own. The other thing to look at this game, Oz, and I'll turn it back over to you here in a little bit, before I babble on too much. The Blue Devils shot 50% from the floor in the first half, and they still trailed by 11. So the fact that they shot 27% in the second half certainly didn't help their fortunes in this game. And from the 6-minute mark on, they disappeared offensively. There just was no Duke offense whatsoever, and Purdue just kept feeding on it and feeding on it. Maybe we're starting to see a lot of people sleeping on a lot of teams in the Big Ten.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think that you might be sleeping on some Big Ten teams. I think that is definitely the case. I think we know it's a really well-rounded conference, and I know Purdue had a great season last year, just didn't know if they had it in them to do it again. Now, Purdue, obviously having a great time with football, getting to the Big Ten championship game, and now obviously looking good with 6-0 here after the Phil Knight legacy game. Duke was just dreadful from the three-point line. I think they hit 2 shots in the three-point line. They were just absolutely dreadful. But Purdue had a fantastic weekend. Obviously, Zach Edey did a fantastic job. The guy's averaging a double-double and just looking fantastic. But starts off with a great win against West Virginia. And then, a statement win against Gonzaga. Gonzaga is a good team. I just don't know if they're that good, as good as they were last year. I think there's a lot of question marks on that Gonzaga team. We'll have to talk about that in a different segment. And then obviously that win against Duke. Now they are going to take on a Florida State team that's really struggling. We thought that was going to be a better team. That's not the case. And then they get ready for Big Ten play. We get to see them play Minnesota at the beginning of December, just next week. we're already going to get a taste of some of this Big Ten kind of play, just a little bit. Then we get them moved on. I actually am really excited to see them in the Indianapolis Classic, the Indy Classic, if you will, against Davidson. Davidson's having a sneaky good season so far in the Atlantic 10. The Atlantic 10 is completely upside down right now. However, Purdue is just really looking good. I like what I see from them. The rebounding game is obviously fantastic. No surprise whatsoever, especially when you got a guy that's a 7'4" tree sitting underneath the basket. I'm looking forward to seeing what Purdue can do in the Big Ten. And it's nice to see that we're going to get that a little earlier than some of the other conferences, because I want to see what Purdue can do. I wish we had one of those marquee matchups earlier. Like we're seeing Minnesota and Purdue. Minnesota is a decent team. They're not like the Michigans or the Michigan States or in Iowa. I can't wait to see Purdue versus Iowa. That's always a good game. And now that we have a big guy like Edey in the front court, I'm really looking forward to seeing that matchup.
I mean, I want to see Purdue, Illinois.
That too.
That's going to be, in my mind, that's going to be just a bloodbath.
Or Maryland.
Yeah.
I can't forget about Maryland. True. I mean, they haven't lost it either.
No, I mean, Kevin Willard, man, what a great coaching job down there. But yeah, so now, it's the big, the Big Ten. We have to start looking maybe deeper. And we knew it was going to be a good conference, especially at the top. Maybe, I felt maybe it'd be a little bit too top heavy, but maybe not. I mean, and Purdue has shown that, okay, yeah, we lost some key contributors, but we're still pretty good. Don't dismiss us, and then, I always call him Easley. I don't know why I always want to call him Easley. We should call him Easy, because for him, it's everything looks easy. Easy right. Baskets, easy rebounds, easy blocks. He's just, people kept calling him a unicorn, and I don't want to even call him a unicorn because he's just,
I didn't know unicorns were that tall. I mean,
but I mean, plus, and unicorns are more like, graceful and fluffy and clouds and things like that. He's Goliath. He's a Sasquatch. I mean, I'm not trying to put down his physical, size, but
he's fantastic.
Yeah, and he's athletic. He moves well in the paint. I think he's gotten better, over time. So now suddenly Purdue's, knocking on the door saying, hey, you got to pay attention to us. Come on.
Yeah. As for Purdue, they will finish the month off against Florida State, as mentioned in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. Florida State, a 1-7 right now. For the Big Ten, they already have 3 teams that are still undefeated. 11 of the teams in the Big Ten only have 1 loss or better. Those undefeated teams and 1 loss. There's only a few teams at the bottom that have 2, only 1 3-loss team in Nebraska. This Big Ten conference is doing a good job in non-conference play. That's going to help them out massively when they get into conference play and start asking for bids in this tournament. No surprise, they're probably going to lead or be at least one of the leaders of conferences with the most bids come March time. As for Duke, they have a tougher task for them to finish the month off. Wednesday night, they take on Ohio State in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. Ohio State currently ranked 25th. Duke moved down to 17th after the weekend. 5-1 Ohio State taking on 6-2 the Blue Devils. I still like Duke. I still think that they have a lot to prove. If they figure out their 3-point shooting, they have some really good big guys. I don't think that their top freshmen are healthy and ready to go yet. Kyle Flipowski has been a godsend so far. Don't think they were expecting him to be this good. Same with Mitchell. I don't think they were expecting them to be the 3 and 4 guys. Proctor as well. I just he reclassed, but they were looking forward to having Whitehead and Lively be the start of the show, and it hasn't been the case. And I think that's because there's some health, obviously, concerns. But the other guys are stepping up. When they find a way to fire on all cylinders, this Duke team is going to be firing away with everybody else in the running. And that's why I'm still not ruling them out, even though it's just one bad weekend. I'm well aware that we're early in the season. We're only 8 games in. I'm not ruling them out by any means, especially when we get the ACC play. Let them figure it out in this non-conference, because they're going to still find a way to get those wins. Maybe they'll lose one more before conference play. Maybe they won't. Who knows? Regardless, I'm not worried in any means about Duke.
But, and I really kept my eyes on Shire with all the games and just watching his demeanor on the sidelines. I mean, of course, every coach has his moments where he gets upset at a call or whatever, but he never really seems to flinch, or sometimes you can see a coach almost second guessing themselves when they're in a huddle. He just seems he knows what the game plan needs to be, and they're willing to make adjustments. I think they showed that in this tournament that they were able to make in-game adjustments. But this was just one of those days where Purdue was the better basketball team, and I think as long as Jair can keep that even keel, that's going to carry over, especially with the younger players, because now they've lost almost a month, a lot of the younger players, of valuable playing time, both preseason and early season games. So they're going to have to, I don't want to say play catch up. They can just go at it at their own pace now, because they know that they have other tools out there that they can depend on until all the pistons are firing.
After an impressive weekend by the Purdue Boilermakers, 2 top 10 wins, they find themselves from 24th all the way up to 5th in the new rankings. The Purdue Boilermakers sitting in the top 5. Fantastic. We will see them on Wednesday night take on 1-7 Florida State in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. What do you think about these Boilermakers? Do you think this team is legit? Do you think they deserve that top 5 ranking so early after a huge jump, 19 spots in 1 week? And then Duke, are you worried at all about this team? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to hit like and subscribe while you're there. And thank you, as always, for watching SlasherU.